Hey ho, another bloody zombie movie. You know, there was a time when I adored zombies, squishy, rotting charmers that they are. I always loved how rather than being the stars of their movies, something most monster flicks tend to do, they serve as the plot devices to drive the characters through their respective arcs. The problem is that as far as story setup goes, it's pretty easy to exploit. You start with everything being fine. Then zombies attack and humanity goes down the shitter. After that, the last survivors hole up somewhere and gradually get turned into zombie fast food, before finally the few characters aren't insane or eaten make a getaway to some island. So as much as I enjoy films in the genre, with Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead being one of my personal favourites, after a while it all starts to feel a bit samey. Still, it's not fair to discount a film based on a trend. After all, World War Z is based on a critically acclaimed book of the same name, is it not? Surely with such rich and subversive source material to draw from, they couldn't possibly... What's that? What do you mean it's nothing like the book? Well, fan-bloody-tastic, another generic zombie movie. Well, at least we can expect a lot of nasty blood and guts. Maybe it'll still be pretty... Sorry, say again? It's a 15! Well, isn't this just peachy? Why don't you replace all the zombies with giant middle fingers and really let the audience know how you feel about them? Perhaps I'm being a little unfair. Truth be told, even though it's formulaic as a spreadsheet, it's actually not that bad, and at the very least managed to keep my attention throughout. The story basically follows the tale of UN employee Jerry Lane during the early days of the zombie apocalypse, as he globetrots to various hotspots around the world in a race against time to find a decent barber. Wait, scratch that. I mean save the world. So admittedly the setup is lacking that X factor, but in fairness it does manage to deliver some fantastic grand scale set pieces as well as some smaller, more claustrophobic horror moments. As I'm sure you've seen in the trailer already, the zombies themselves are absolutely insane compared to any previous representation in film. Interestingly, rather than falling into either traditional zombie or infected categories, they slot themselves somewhere in between, moving like a swarm of fire ants after anything with a pulse. This leads to some stunningly realised moments of CGI where you see them burst forth like a tidal wave, rolling over each other in a grotesque mass of limbs and teeth. It's fantastic to see, and even without any gore factor it still manages to be somewhat unnerving, with the way that they twitch and spasm, planting them firmly in the uncanny valley and no doubt in a fair share of nightmares. Some of the best scenes, however, come from moments when the characters are required to be stealthy in order to avoid being spotted by the zombies. One scene in which it was only after it was over that I realised I'd been holding my breath throughout. Ultimately, the reason that these scenes are more effective than in a lot of comparable movies is because the zombies themselves feel like a plausible threat. Not only are they fast, hyper-alert to sound and able to infect someone in less than 15 seconds once they've been bitten, they're also only susceptible to being shot in the head, with anything else only serving to slow them down. And whilst I'm sure a lot of people have their zombie defence plans in mind, you might as well not bother if this is how it's going to be, because odds are you'll be lucky to last the first half hour of the outbreak. I'd like to talk a little about the acting on display. That is, I'd like to, but truth be told I didn't really see anything worth mentioning from the main cast. I was hoping at the very least that Brad Pitt would be able to instill the film with a bit of personality, but truth be told, by the end of it I kind of felt that despite being characterised as some tough guy journalist, he mostly just comes off as a bit of a dopey twat. Throughout the film, they make several efforts to tug at your heartstrings with reminders that he has a family he cares for, but it's hard to really care when he's just so boring. His wife's no better either. Played by Muriel Ennis of "Insert mediocre TV show here" fame, she just kind of exists. And when she isn't being incredibly annoying, she just kind of sits there in the cutaways from the exciting stuff to make sure that we haven't forgotten Jerry Lane is a family man and we need to care about her because he does. So what do I think of the movie overall then? Sure, it's not original, and it may have squandered a lot of potential it had to be something greater, but it's not terrible by any extent. Whilst I'm certain fans of the book will take offence to it, so long as you go into it expecting just a zombie movie, you won't be disappointed. Consider this film to be the leftover pasta you have in your fridge. It's nothing exciting, a little bit stale, but it hits the spot whilst you wait for something proper. See you next time.
I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes.